Oh, hello everyone, and welcome to Grapperinos, the wrestling pizzeria where we serve you a slice of probably next week on Raw. I'm Bryon, and joining me in this endeavor is someone who wishes his team wasn't cursed. Mike, say hi, Mike.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is, in the lead up to the Saturday night's main event, I think it's July 18th, at Madison Square Garden, I would highly recommend you think of an angle that Danhausen will be in, because I can almost guarantee that he will show up at that show, and he is going to get probably a pop that is rivaling Stone Cold coming out to save mankind. And I'm not kidding. I really am not. Like, it's he has been openly acknowledged as part of the reason why the Knicks won the title. So he's gonna get an absolutely fucking insane pop at Madison Square Garden. So good for him. He's already instantly over by uncursing and cursing a basketball team. So
Yeah,
you can tell I'm not salty at all. I'm not
hashtag...
salty.
Where are the hashtag thank you Danhausen posts is what I'm saying.
He probably will be invited to the parade. I assume he'll be in the parade.
Okay. We'll see. Hell, I will even take the whole Danhausen statue kind of deal or something. I don't know. We might even give them, or we could accept a belt or something like that. A Knicks belt. He gives them a Knicks belt or something. I don't know. But yeah, it is time to talk about Raw. And we are leading up to Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. So let's get to it on this show where we try to book and predict the next episode of Monday Night Raw. And we do it according to these rules. And after that, we watch the next episode of Monday Night Raw as it drops. And we score our predictions and bookings based on this scoring system. And after that, we tell you what we got on the next episode of this show, and then do it all over again. So let's get to the scores. I got 4 points, and that is just the whole Roman bloodline shebang. Okay, we got Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu, Oba Femi made an appearance as well, I think. And, yeah, just the bloodline stuff. The Usos as well, they made an appearance. What about you, Mike?
I had also 4 points. I got, I got 2 points from a backstage segment where the Usos discussed the King of the Ring tournament. I got 1 from Oba Femi winning his match. I got 1 from a Soul Ruka promo, and I also got 1 from Io Sky winning her match as well.
Alright, well there you go. We got a lot to get to, so let's get to it. Starting off with the announcements for the next episode. We have the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring semifinal matches as Io Sky takes on Raquel Rodriguez for the Queen of the Ring semifinal match, as well as Dominic Mysterio taking on Oba Femi for the King of the Ring semifinal match. And we also got the OTC, Roman Reigns, making an appearance on the show. So, without further ado, let's book this thing and head to my version of the show first as Roman Reigns heads to the ring. He and the Bloodline 2000 2.0 new Bloodline Order, they come out. They talk about the qualifying match last week where Jey Uso pinned LA Knight and succeeded in advancing in the King of the Ring tournament. Roman Reigns is happy that Jey Uso, took that win and is now advancing to the next stage of the King of the Ring tournament. And says that it was great. He congratulates Jey on the win. He is 1 step closer to getting that championship from that no good Cody Rhodes. He is then interrupted by LA Knight, who is upset. He is mad. He is like that team that lost to the Knicks at the NBA Finals. And he's mad that he got pinned by Jey Uso last week. He is sick and tired of the bloodline showing up every week and costing people like him an opportunity at taking down Roman Reigns and getting that championship to whoever deserves it better than Roman Reigns. Jimmy defends the honor of Jey Uso because he is Jey's brother by challenging LA Knight to a match later tonight. LA Knight accepts, and their match is made as the main event of the evening. I will talk more about this when we get to the main event, so we'll move on for now to the Queen of the Ring semifinal match as Io Sky takes on Raquel Rodriguez. I will have Io Sky win by pinfall after a distraction from Judgment Day doesn't work due to Roxanne Perez. Liv Morgan and the rest of the group follow Roxanne Perez as the segment ends, except for I guess Raquel Rodriguez. I don't know, but I do think that Io Sky has the potential to win the Queen of the Ring tournament to face Liv Morgan at SummerSlam. I think Io Sky versus Liv Morgan could be a decent match, and I guess you could also do Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. It's also another sort of, there's a lot of story there as well, so I think it would be better for them to go with Rhea versus Io for the SmackDown Women's Championship. That's not what it's called, but I'll just call it that anyway. At SummerSlam, rather than, going up against Liv Morgan, I think they're just banking on Stephanie Vaquer to get healed up so they can do this rematch between Liv and Stephanie at SummerSlam this year. So, yeah, I'll just have that happen. Next, we got a backstage segment with the Judgment Day. As a continuation from that, we have Roxanne and Raquel. They're having a talk with the rest of the Judgment Day. They're like, what the hell happened out there? We gotta discuss what the hell is going on. Liv, tells them to get on the same page and says that, okay, you know what, Roxanne and Raquel, you're no longer in the tournament. So you know what? Goals have changed. It is time to make sure that me, Liv Morgan, that I win against Io Sky. She thinks that Io Sky is coming after her title. So we got to make sure that whoever is challenging her gets the worst days of their lives from here on out. And we'll see if that pays off. I think this is going to be another seed planted in the Judgment Day breakup, but who knows with this group. As Mike has stated earlier, or in previous episodes before, Judgment Day is a group that makes a mistake and, apologizes the week after, and then they do it all over again. So, I don't know. They're kind of slowly doing the whole Judgment Day breakup at this point, and it's kind of getting annoying at this point, I think. Next, Chad Gable takes on Rusev. I think this happens because of what occurred last week in the match between Penta and Rey Mysterio, I think. I will have Chad Gable win via a surprise roll-up as a face. After the match, Rusev beats up Chad, but is saved by Dragon Lee. But Rusev is then saved by Ethan Page. But Dragon Lee is saved by Penta, as he applies his finisher on Ethan Page. As a result, a match is made later tonight between Ethan Page and Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. I will talk about that match when we get there. But yeah, as I said on the SmackDown episode last week, I would like Chad Gable to have some kind of a mid-card push. I think this match would be a decent example of that. And hopefully Chad Gable gets into the Intercontinental Championship scene as soon as possible, so we can cement this whole Chad Gable face turn kind of deal. So, there you go. Moving on to Sol Ruka. She has some promo time. She talks about her match with Lyra Valkyria last week. She says it was a great match, but at the end of the day, Sol Ruca is still standing as the champion. She looks forward to the next challenger for her title, and she is then interrupted by Maxine Dupree and the Alpha Academy, who challenges her to a match next week for the title. And Sol Ruca accepts, and that match is made for next week. I don't know why I picked Maxine. I looked at the roster of Women on Raw, and just because Rhea Ripley is no longer there, it kind of makes the whole division kind of weaker as a result. So they're gonna have to come up with something. Maybe call up another woman from NXT. Blake Monroe is on SmackDown, so I don't know. Just pick another woman. Maybe Zarya gets a shot. Maybe we bring back that one woman from TNA who was there for like 2 weeks. I don't know. Something like that. But I don't know. I just picked Maxine. Whatever. She's one of the few women who has the potential for a singles title shot at this point, because no one else, not even Natalia, has a, legitimate kind of reason to do so. So there you go. Next, Ethan Page takes on Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. I will have Penta win by pinfall after a distraction from Rusev fails due to the Luchadors coming in. Ethan Page crashes out after the match. Again, I hope Chad Gable is the next sort of Intercontinental Champion after this whole shebang between Rusev and Ethan Page and all those folks. I think Chad Gable has, momentum, and the fans are relating to him, what with the whole story and all. So, yeah. Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship, please. Thank you. Moving on to the King of the Ring semifinals as Dominic Mysterio takes on Oba Femi. Now, this is a bit of a kerfuffle because, as you know, Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar, their feud is not over. Also, we also have the whole Dominic Mysterio Judgment Day kind of deal going on here, and what it might hold when he either takes on Roman Reigns or Cody. So, I will have Dominic Mysterio win by pinfall due to a distraction from Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar. I meant Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
Or Brock Lesnar. I don't know. After the match, Brock continues to F5 Oba Femi many times. He leaves with a smile. Paul Heyman backstage is just, smiling. And I think this is reason enough to have their final match at SummerSlam, where Brock Lesnar can retire there for real this time after Oba Femi squashes him like he did at WrestleMania. So there you go. Backstage segment as the Bloodline 2000 2.0 congregate for the main event match. Roman, the Usos, and Jacob Fatu talk about the match between Jimmy Uso and LA Knight. Roman urges Jacob to help out Jimmy as he has heard of rumors that Jacob doesn't acknowledge the Usos and therefore does not follow their orders. He only acknowledges the tribal chief, which is Roman Reigns, obviously. So he wants Jacob to just help out Jimmy Uso win the match on behalf of the Bloodline for Roman Reigns, for me. Jacob accepts Roman's request as he does. He then tells Jimmy, he meaning Roman, he tells Jimmy good luck on the match and to show LA Knight what the new Bloodline 2000 2.0 World Order is capable of. And Jimmy and Jacob walk out for the next match, which is LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso. I will have LA Knight win by pinfall. Yes, I will have LA Knight win by pinfall. After a distraction from Jacob Fatu falls flat. It kind of doesn't work. Jacob tries to help, and it just leads to a bunch of disagreement and all that. LA Knight capitalizes on the confusion from the Bloodline team, and he wins. I'll have LA Knight kind of run away smiling and laughing, and Jimmy and Jacob are sort of arguing about what happened in the ring. And then we kind of have some tension here as Jimmy pushes Jacob and Jacob pushes back, and Jimmy Uso leaves angry as the show goes off the air. It looks like Roman has some stuff to do regarding the discipline of Jacob Fatu and the Usos. So I think they are potentially setting up an angle for Jacob Fatu, and maybe I don't think it's a civil war per se, but I think Jacob Fatu is going into an angle where he kind of has to kind of figure out if he wants to be friends with the Usos or not, and whether or not Roman wants to settle the whole Usos and Jacob Fatu kind of deal as the tribal chief. And potentially, since Jey is advancing in the tournament, the King of the Ring tournament, it could rely on Jey winning that tournament, and then Jacob Fatu just trying to mess up Jey Uso's kind of advance in the tournament, and as a result, we kind of have Dominic Mysterio winning the whole thing, maybe. But I could also see, kind of maybe a tag team match where Roman and Jacob go up against the Usos or something like that, I guess, at SummerSlam. Potentially. I mean, either way, I think that Jacob Fatu is going to be in a match against the Usos in some way because of what's going on recently. Just the fact that Jacob is not acknowledging the Usos and Roman is like, what the hell is this? Right? I just feel like we are heading towards that point where Jacob Fatu is going to go up against the Usos, and Roman has no choice but to sort of let this happen and see who wins, I guess. I don't know. I think this whole bloodline stuff is just whatever. I don't really care that much, but hey, I put LA Knight winning there, okay, just to satiate the loss that he had last week, okay? I'm just saying, alright? Down but not out. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, any questions?
So, where do you think Finn Balor fits in this Dominic Mysterio scenario? Do you think that because Finn obviously didn't win his match, there has been rumors that there has been quote unquote creative frustration, which can be said about a lot of things in this company. But there was some creative frustration about the current status of the storyline with Liv and Dom Mysterio. And all I can say is yes, because the storyline has been going on for like fucking 3 years at this point. We need to move on to something else.
Yeah, I feel like some of these storylines are going on for too long, and they don't have, they don't have any sort of blow-offs planned for later dates. They're kind of just letting these ride by for some reason. And I could share the frustration with Finn Balor. I mean, Finn Balor kind of broke off from the Judgment Day for what? Not really that much so far anyway. So I think that Finn Balor may play a role in the finish of the King of the Ring tournament between Dominic Mysterio and whoever else wants to sort of challenge Dominic. I don't know what else is on the other side of the tournament. So Dominic Mysterio versus someone. If Finn Balor plays a role in the finish and it ends up not working, so Dominic Mysterio wins, I guess. Not sure who else is going to, besides Oba Femi and Dominic Mysterio, who is going to be in the whole semifinal final kind of stretch. Because to be honest, Finn Balor is like the only SmackDown guy on the tournament. The rest are just Raw, which is just weird. But yeah, the rest of the tournament is just Raw guys. There's no one from SmackDown going in. I think people are tossing the idea of CM Punk potentially coming back to SmackDown and maybe challenging Cody. Maybe. But again, that's more for SmackDown anyway. But for Raw, I think that, he is going to play a role. He, of course, meaning Finn Balor, I think he's going to play a role in the finish of Dominic Mysterio versus whoever in the finals. And, I don't know. We'll see how we go from there, I guess. And I agree with Finn. I think what he's been saddled with has been pretty bad. So hopefully it gets better from here. So...
Yeah, I mean, I really think that Dom should at some point turn face. I think that he's already very over as it is, and he's kind of in a weird spot where he's still acting a heel, but he definitely should turn face at some point. Probably when Liv is done having her title reign. So, but anyway, I think I'm ready for my card, Brian.
All right. Well, let's head into whatever. Let's move on to your card, starting off with...
Speaking of Dominic Mysterio, Dominic kicks off the show with a promo. He is going to put himself and Raquel Rodriguez over. Those are the two matches on this episode of Raw. It is a big night for the Judgment Day. And the rest of the Judgment Day come out. The Judgment Day women come out to the ring with Raquel. And we move into the Queen of the Ring semi-final match. Which is next. I can't tell if you put up the slide yet, but anyway. We have the Queen of the Ring semi-final. There is no slide. Nothing exists. There was never any slides. There was never any Grapperinos.
No, yeah.
It's all in your head.
No. Yes, indeed.
We have Io Sky.
Yes, I can move on.
Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez. I think Io wins this one. I think what happens is the Judgment Day try to get involved per usual. But then Rhea comes out to help her old friend Io Sky.
Whoa.
Why do I think this happens? Well, on Friday, Rhea was aligned with Charlotte and Alexa Bliss against the Fatal Influence, I believe, 2 weeks ago. And Rhea was sort of like buddy-buddy with Charlotte for a little bit. And last week, they got attacked by Jade and the Takeover, or the Takeout, or the Takedown. I don't know, whatever they're called.
Carry over?
Carry out.
Carry out.
Anyway, they got taken out by the Takedown, who took over. And Rhea did not come out. And I'm thinking that this will lead to a confrontation, probably on Friday, where Charlotte calls her out for going to help Io but not helping them. And this will lead to some tension when Charlotte wins the Queen of the Ring, and it ends up being Rhea versus Charlotte at SummerSlam. So.
All right. Wow. So you really are pushing for Charlotte versus Rhea at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Are you sort of...
Because I'm looking at who's left in this Queen of the Ring tournament. And, I mean, if you look at who's left right now, right?
Yeah.
It's Liv, who... I don't think Liv is winning. If Liv wins this fucking tournament, I'm done with this company, Brian. Like, come on. Why are you going to do this whole thing just to have the current champion win the title anyway? Like, what are we doing then? You couldn't just thrown, like, a jobber in there to make things interesting. You had to throw Liv in there for whatever reason. Fine, but I don't think Liv is winning. I don't. There is no way, unless unless Vince Russo is somehow back in the company. I don't think Liv Morgan is winning. I think Charlotte wins. I think Io Sky wins. So we have Charlotte versus Io, which is another interesting, Rhea Ripley match where she has, feelings. That's a weird word to use. She has, she is friendly. She is friendly with both sides. So that's what makes it interesting. I think Charlotte wins that one. So.
Okay, I could see that. I could also see the potential in Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley because they were former teammates.
That could be interesting, yes. But it's face versus face, though. So I think that'd be kind of awkward. And I think Charlotte turns heel, probably.
You know what? Turn Rhea Ripley heel. I don't think that.
No, she's super over as a face. I don't think she would be going heel anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think you could turn Io Sky heel either, because she is... I would say she's also on the same level.
She's not, like... She is pretty over, but she's, like, one of the... She's kind of got that Jey Uso syndrome, where, like, she's so...
Really?
Yeah, like, when Jey Uso was, like, the Yeet Man? I mean, he still is kind of the Yeet Man.
Well, he still is the Yeet Man.
But he doesn't do the Yeet too much anymore. But when he was the Yeet Man, he was like, he was so involved in that gimmick that it was almost impossible to turn him heel because he's sort of in this point where it's like they're so over as a face that you really can't turn them heel because it would make no sense. And I think Io is in that same boat where her character is such ingrained as a face that it's kind of hard to turn her heel. You'd have to do a lot of work because right now Jey is sort of a tweener and he's had to take like a couple of months to get there.
Okay, all right, fair enough, I guess. I just feel like Io Sky is on the level of Rhea Ripley in terms of... Okay, I can kind of see how she is kind of like Jey Uso, except I don't think she is on that level of Jey Uso, where people are sort of like doing the thing that she does with the pointing at the face thing. I don't think a lot of people are doing that, or at least as many people as those who yeet to Jey Uso's theme song. But yeah, I think that... I think Io Sky is going to be a much sort of better outcome than Charlotte Flair, at least in my opinion. But I don't know. I think both options are pretty good. I just prefer an Io Sky outcome because there's the whole Rhea thing, and there's also, Liv versus Io, which could be a good match. And I think Io can potentially be co-champion with Rhea. So, both tag teams, or one half of like a tag team, I guess you could say Rhea and Io were holding separate championships. Like that's a pretty cool moment, I think. But if Charlotte wins, fair enough. Whatever. We'll move on from that too.
Have a backstage segment where Raquel crashes out for losing her match. I think that I'm going to stick to my original prediction where I think Raquel wins the Elimination Chamber, and she probably challenges Liv for the title. And that's where we finally break up the Judgment Day, Bryon. Yes.
Wait, you're saying you're breaking up the Judgment Day here?
No, not here, but I'm thinking that, this is planting seeds for Raquel versus Liv at some point. So.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Could you see Raquel sort of, I guess, I don't know, potentially wrecking Liv's sort of championship by sort of intervening in one of her matches? But maybe at SummerSlam it'll happen, I guess. Okay. What are the chances that the two will be friends again come next week? Or the week after that?
I would give it a 70% chance that they make up and are friends by the next week. Because that's how this thing
Fantastic.
goes. Yes.
Fair enough. We'll move on from that to...
Another backstage segment. Chad Gable goes to apologize to Alpha Academy. I had this last time, and I think it was on SmackDown I had this, or Raw, I don't know. But I think Chad goes to apologize to Alpha Academy. He's been apologizing to all the luchadors. He actually helped Penta last time. I think Chad is in... he is Chad. Why did I think he was named differently? I think Chad is in a very interesting spot. He's a white hot babyface that they really need to give him a push. Like, if they're gonna do it, they have to do it now, because he's very hot.
Yeah.
And he needs to get a push now or never. So I think he continues his apologizing tour. Apologizes to Alpha Academy. And Chad says he will back them in their match tonight. They have a match, not booked, but I'm thinking they'll get a match, probably against the Street Profits for a number 1 contendership for the tag team titles. Chad is then interrupted by Penta, who wants his help in a match versus Rusev and Ethan Page later in the show. So,
wow. So you're gonna have a lot of Chad Gable on the show. Interesting.
I think we need to build Chad up. I think he's going to be a contender for the IC title.
Right. Although I wouldn't call I wouldn't call Alpha Academy luchadors, but I see the sentiment.
If
here.
you, the last time that Penta, or when, was it Dragon Lee? I think it was when he was apologizing to Dragon Lee and Ray. Ray told him, I think there's someone else who you need to apologize to. And that could have meant Penta, but I think that might also mean Alpha Academy as well. So.
Oh, because Chad used to be part of that, I guess. Okay. Alright, fair enough. We'll move on from that to...
The third backstage segment of this show, Javon Evans gets an interview. He puts himself over.
What?
Because he is a bouncy boy.
Okay. Alright. I mean, with the whole Chad Gable thing, where would you put Javon then? Because it seems like he's on this Intercontinental Championship kind of kerfuffle. But now with the focus on Chad Gable, where would they put Javon Evans in?
I can see Javon maybe moving over to SmackDown for the U.S. title, but I mean, the mid-card is a bit crowded right now, especially on Raw, because we have like Rusev, Ethan Page, Penta, Javon Evans, Chad Gable, right? All those guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see them all being involved in the scene. You know, it's good to have a bunch of competition. So, keep people fresh.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Okay. I would definitely have Javon kind of stay on that. You know, a Javon versus Chad Gable match could be pretty cool. I'm just saying. But, yeah, I think Javon should definitely stay in that Intercontinental Championship lane. I think when Chad Gable does get the title, I could see a Javon Evans versus Chad Gable kind of rivalry or feud. That could be pretty cool. So, yeah, definitely, for sure. You know, boys bouncy. Anyway, we'll move on from that to...
We have a Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. This is a number 1 contendership match for the tag team titles on Raw. I think the Alpha Academy win via a roll-up. We keep both teams looking strong. I don't see the purpose in keeping the Street Profits in the tag team title scene at the moment because they really haven't done a whole lot against the Vision. They were kind of given like this big push when they came back and then like lost and then really haven't done much other than beef with Seth Rollins a little bit. I don't know if Alpha Academy win right away, but I think this is a way for Chad Gable to get a push as a face. So.
Okay. Although, it's kind of weird seeing you pretend that you now care about tag team wrestling since WWE kind of doesn't care about wrestling.
I mean, there was a report the other day that they wanted to start building back up the tag team division, so, like, I mean, this is how you do it.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I would love to see that match. I'm just not sure if they would. They're kind of focusing more on the whole bloodline and Chad Gable, and they kind of don't have room for tag teams, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see. Could you possibly see... Who has the Raw tag team titles? Is it Division?
Division, still, yeah.
Okay. I could see... are you heading towards the Street Profits versus Division? Is that where you're heading?
I can see them running it back, yes.
Okay. Alright, fair enough. I just find it weird that this would be predicted. But we'll see, you know. We'll move on from that too.
We have a Chad Gable and Penta versus Ethan Page and Rusev match. I think that Chad Gable and Penta win against Ethan Page and Rusev. I think this gives Chad Gable a shot at the IC title, maybe at King and Queen of the Ring, maybe at another Raw, who knows. But yeah, this is Chad's push that he is probably going to get. But knowing this company, they might just forget that he exists. So it's 50-50 shot. Either he gets the push or they forget that he exists, and there's nothing in between. So
yeah, I mean, hopefully, I do think that Chad is going to get that push. I do think he's going to get that title. Hopefully, I am, putting a lot of faith in it. So I guess the question is, where does this put Rusev and the other guys? Are they going to be just in a mid-card feud where it's Rusev facing off against Luchadors, or where do you see this? Even Ethan Page, he's kind of new to the whole thing, but you can sort of lump him in there as a sort of mid-carder, right? Would you sort of continue this sort of mid-card feud between Ethan Page and Rusev against the Luchadors, or where could you possibly see this for SummerSlam?
I can see like a multi-man match. They love their multi-man matches, Brian. So I could definitely see a multi-man match. Yeah.
For the title?
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, I think recently the Intercontinental Championship, well, with the exception of the one-on-one with Rey Mysterio, they've been traditionally putting in, Intercontinental Championship in multi-man matches in PLEs, so it does make sense that they would do that, yeah. Who would you put in it?
In the match for Rusev, Ethan Page, Penta, Chad Gable, who else was in this IC title scene? You have Javon Evans, and maybe Rey Mysterio if you want to put him in there.
Yeah. Okay, so this is just a ladder match at WrestleMania, except you just switch a bunch of people. Fair enough. I mean, you could make it a ladder match or a regular match, whichever one, whatever. We'll move on from that to...
We have a Seth Rollins promo. So, apparently, I don't know if you knew this, Brian, but the Vision still hate Seth Rollins.
Wow. They do?
They do. They do. Apparently they do. So, Seth comes out and says apparently his business with the Vision is not finished, and he wants Braun Breaker to come out here right now so they can put an end to this feud they have going on. Paul Heyman comes out instead. Seth says, all right, well, I'll just put you through another table then. Heyman says, well, Mr. Rollins, you can have all the tables you want because his next match with Braun Breaker at King of the Ring is going to be a no-holds-barred match between the two.
Oh.
That will be a blow-off for this feud. Hopefully, until Braun Breaker comes back to screw over Seth Rollins in about 2 weeks. So.
Yeah.
And the cycle will repeat.
Who do you think will win that? Yeah?
I think probably Seth wins this one. Because, I don't know. Braun really needs to win it because he has been just on a downward spiral ever since the Vision had their breakup with Seth Rollins. Hasn't won shit, hasn't really done much, and he's been overshadowed by Oba Femi. So,
yeah,
he desperately needs W, and I think that it'd be better to give it to him. But knowing Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins will be going over, and I think Braun needs to go to SmackDown because he's just not getting anything done on Raw. So,
okay. I would definitely love to see Braun Breaker win the overall feud with Seth Rollins, just for the reasons that you stated. And I feel like the company would sort of, give Braun the shot, at least to revitalize the Vision, because the Vision are kind of not that great right now. So we could also see Bronson Reed coming back. I mean, that's also a possibility. But I would rather see Braun win the whole thing, rather than Seth. So, yeah. Knowing this company, though, I wouldn't, put it past them to have Seth win the whole thing, but whatever. We'll move on from that, too.
We have a backstage segment. The Vision confront Alpha Academy and the Street Profits. So, the Vision come out to confront their new opponents, the Alpha Academy. Maxine, who is with the Alpha Academy at this point, say that they could learn a thing or two from the Vision. She has apparently been hanging out with Austin Theory, which, Austin Theory also hasn't done a whole lot either. Except beat up a couple of masked men and win the tag team titles by default, but and then the Street Profits also intervene, backing up the Alpha Academy, and that tag team match gets booked for Raw next week, which is the go-home show for Queen and King of the Ring. And I think that the Vision retain, and the Street Profits probably run it back with them at SummerSlam. So.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, definitely makes sense to me. Considering there's no other tag teams. Yeah. Okay. I guess, could you see the Vision kind of holding the tag team championships hostage until the end of this year? Or, because, man, this tag team division is not, great.
Yeah, I could.
We can't just
I could until we get a reset. I think Alpha Academy can be brought back in. You can do El Penta and Dragon Lee. You can do some Luchador tag teams. You have American Made. You can bring the War Raiders back in if you want.
They're in AAA, buddy.
Well, they can always come back.
Yeah, true. Alright. Fair enough, I guess. I just feel like they don't care. But, I would be surprised if they start caring. So there you go. we'll move on from that to
the main event. The King of the Ring semifinal, Oba Femi versus Dominic Mysterio. I believe that Dominic is going to win this one after Oba Femi is attacked mid-match by Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, who is legally distinct from Brock Lesnar, attacks Oba Femi, and I think that Brock has his retirement match in Minnesota at SummerSlam against Oba Femi. It's pretty obvious. I think Dominic goes on to probably lose in the final to the Yeet Man. The Yeet Man cometh, Bryan.
Oh my god.
The Yeet Man cometh.
Yeah. I just don't like the whole Jey Uso thing again. I just don't. I really don't. I would rather have Oba Femi win than, or even Dominic. But no, I guess we're running black.
Dominic winning against Roman Reigns would be fucking hilarious, though.
Jey versus Roman?
No, Dominic winning against Roman Reigns would be fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, it would. Yeah, for sure, definitely. No, I'm like, I get the whole Brock Lesnar screwing over Oba Femi. Like, that makes sense to me. I could also, get past the whole Dominic Mysterio kind of deal, potentially winning. Like, that's fine. But Jey winning again? Like, that's not good to me. I'm just saying. Yeah. I just don't think that's a good idea, but whatever. Anyway, so you think Jey Uso is going after Cody if he does indeed win the tournament?
Yes.
Okay, Jey Uso versus Cody. All right, decent. And I guess this may be an obvious answer, but could you see Jey Uso toppling Cody?
Yes, I could see Jey Uso winning thanks to Roman, and they have like a pseudo bloodline thing coming back. But how funny would it be if Roman then goes on and says, "I want to fight Jey," and then Roman wins and he reunifies titles again? And we're just back where we started. It's a cycle.
Yeah, we're just back to square one, which is stupid. Oh, this company, man. I can't. Yeah. There's not a lot of good options left for them, honestly. But there's also CM Punk. I mean, CM Punk has been out for quite a while, and he could come back potentially. So I guess just keep that in mind, I suppose.
There was a lot of rumors last week about him being dissatisfied. That's why he's been gone. But I think he's just taking a break. No, I think he's just taking a break. Okay. He was working like as champion from like Mania to now. Well, not from Mania, but like from when did he get the title? Was it SummerSlam?
I think so. Yeah. Or beginning of this year, I think.
Or yeah, was it Survivor Series? Yeah, but basically, yeah, he had it for a few months, and he was being a champ, being involved in a bunch of angles. So, he was busy, and then I think that he's taken the summer off. So I don't think it's a big deal.
The summer of Punk, but he's not there.
It's funny that Roman is also taking the summer off, yet he is champion. So.
Part-time champions, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you like them. That's how Roman got the 1,000 days. He just took like 80% of that shit off. And that's how we got the longest title reign. And you can do that too, if you're in the same level as Roman, I guess. Popularity-wise. If you sell as many t-shirts as him. So, anyway. That's what we got for what we think will happen on the next episode of Monday Night Raw. And as I said earlier, We will watch the next episode of Monday Night Raw when it drops, and we will score our predictions and bookings based on what we told you here. And then next week, on this next episode, we will tell you what we got, and then we'll do this whole thing again. So until then, thank you for ordering a slice of Probably Next Week on Raw from Grapperinos, and remember, if you're down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, everybody!